Good day. Thank you for joining us, Connecting with Kathleen. We're a local television program. We bring you resources in the Valley that have to do with health and well-being. Today I have with me Sara Sims, Executive Director at Mountain Valley Developmental Services. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for the invitation. It's nice to see you.
It's good to see you. I would love to have you just give an overview of what you are, and then I'm going to talk about some of your programs.
Fantastic. Thank you. So Mountain Valley Developmental Services has been around for 51 years. We are a service agency which provides supports to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and delays, as well as an early intervention broker and an early intervention evaluator. We provide supports in 4 counties, the counties of Garfield, Lake, Eagle, and Pitkin. And we support people throughout their lifespan. So we support babies who might be demonstrating a delay in development or have a diagnosis coming out of a hospital, all the way through a person's lifespan. So we have people who live in the communities and work in the communities, people who drive, people who volunteer. We support everyone who has an intellectual and developmental disability.
Okay, that's a huge population to cover. Let's talk about first maybe about your children and family programs.
Sure. So our children and family programs, the core program within that department is our early intervention program. So early intervention is a service provided through the Colorado Department of Early Childhood, and it offers an evaluation, a developmental screening and evaluation for children under the age of 3. And then if those children qualify based on a significant delay, or like I said, if they have a diagnosis from a physician that automatically qualifies them, then we can also offer therapies in their home or natural environment at no cost to the family until that child turns 3.
Okay. And what are some of the therapies that you offer?
Sure. So we provide speech-language pathology, occupational therapy, physical therapy, counseling, adaptive behavior therapy, developmental intervention, audiology. There's quite a few named by the state, so we're able to provide those as long as we have the professionals available to do that.
Awesome. I would like to say I'm a proud former employee. That my first job when I came to the Valley was to work for you in the early intervention program. And it was a wonderful experience to go into a home with parents who have a child who is developmentally delayed and give them hope and help that child learn new skills. It's just a wonderful program. And I also had triplets, and I got to receive this program out in Utah. And I can't speak highly enough of the people that work for you and the joy and comfort they bring to these families.
Thank you. And 40% of the children who we support in early intervention no longer need specialized services once they complete our services at 3.
You know, I believe that just with my own children. They're all, college graduates and doing well.
Fantastic.
But when they were born at 28 weeks, as a parent, you don't have much hope. Yeah. And your program brings so much hope to families. And that, I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit, what you've seen.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen some really wonderful success stories of children and families. A lot of times we would field calls initially from parents who were just kind of devastated. They just learned about a diagnosis or just realized that something developmentally wasn't on track. And so, just being able to say that it's going to be okay, and we have supports and services, and we're going to come to you, and you don't have to worry about the money part of it. Hopefully it would be just a huge relief to those families.
It is. Talk a little bit about the Family Support Program.
Sure. So the Family Support Services Program is a program that we had been facilitating for quite a few years, and it just moved over to the case management redesign as well. But that was a service that we could reimburse families for extra costs associated with their child's delay or disability. So if the family had certain co-pays for a specialist that their insurance, whatever didn't pay for, we could often pay for that co-pay. Or if they were going down to Children's Hospital for a multi-day evaluation, they need money to pay for the food and the lodging and the mileage. We were happy to do that as well. And one of the large, most requested, I should say, services through that program was respite care. So just giving the family some financial assistance to pay someone to come in to give the parent caregiver a break. It helps everyone's mental health, it refreshes their mind and spirit, and that was really valuable too.
Very valuable, because having special children like that takes a lot of time and energy.
It does.
So that's wonderful.
And it has impacts throughout, marriages and families and social connections and work. So we can appreciate the impact of that.
Okay, and then the children's extensive waiver. I
Sure.
read that on your webpage. Don't really understand what it is.
Right. So that is one of the many home and community-based services Medicaid waivers.
Okay.
It's a mouthful that the state offers. So the state utilizes Medicaid waivers to provide certain services in home and community-based settings, and this is one of them. It's for children up to the age of 18, and its focuses on families with a child who have specialized medical or behavioral needs. And what it does is just exaggerates some of the supports that we could otherwise give to the family, like the ones that I discussed with our Family Support Services program. It kind of elevates that to more robust supports and services in a menu that's available to the families.
What would some of those services be?
Sure. So respite care, community connections, skill development, homemaker supports and services, things like that for that child that would help that family.
Awesome. And then let's talk about the residential program you have.
Sure. So we support about 90 individuals in community housing, and those individuals vary in the kinds of supports and services and needs that they have. So we have some people who live in an apartment and have the skills that necessitate only a few hours of supports from our paid staff each week. We have other people who require 24-hour supports and services and supervision just to help keep them safe and navigate the world around them. We have 8 licensed homes.
Oh, wow.
We have several apartments, several smaller homes with 2 or 3 people living in them, and we have paid staff who work round the clock to provide the kind of supports needed. So really, when we're working with someone who's interested in our residential program, we really want to know what you want. What is your ideal of living in the community? Are you wanting to live with your family? Are you wanting to live in an apartment? Are you wanting to live with other people? And we try to tailor our services based on that input and the desire of the people receiving the services.
And I would imagine many want some semblance of independence.
Sure.
And this is when does this start? What age groups are we talking?
Adult services start when a person is 18, and then we often work with school districts for students who are 18 and can have the option of going through a transition program until they're 21 with the schools. So we do have people who live in our residential locations who also receive school-based services during the school year.
Oh, wonderful. So you're in all the schools.
Sure.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay, and then you have the group homes, family home, apartment. What are some of the services people might need in those?
Sure. So we spend a lot of time working with people on understanding transportation. Where do you want to go today? Do you have appointments to go to? Do you have recreation or just community leisure places that you want to go to? So we work with them on learning the bus systems, or we can provide them transportation. Other times we're working with people on meal planning and preparation, going to the grocery store and purchasing the items for those meals throughout the week, supporting them with learning how to cook, supporting them with learning how to manage their money, figuring out how to get around in the community, like I said, and just connecting them with other people who aren't paid people in their lives so that they have that enrichment of really having some deep relationships with people.
That's nice. It must be a relief to the parents of these people as they're becoming young adults, knowing that there is an ability for them to be more independent, and if they don't want to live at home, there's a place for them to go that's safe and secure.
Sure, absolutely. And as we all know, in the Roaring Fork Valley, housing is very expensive and it's very difficult to find. So throughout Mountain Valley's 51-year history, we've been fortunate to have purchased homes of varying sizes that we can avail to people who want to live in the community at a much reduced cost
That's
from market
amazing.
rate.
That's amazing. And then I was reading about your recreation and leisure program, which I think is so amazing.
Yeah. So, we all want to be part of something bigger than us, and we all want to just go and be in our communities and do fun things and explore our interests. And so we really try to devote time and resources to getting people to fulfill that stuff. So we have people who come in to, it's not really even structured day programming anymore, but they gather around, they figure out what they want to do for the day and who they want to do those things with. And then we have staff who will take them out and do those things. So they get to explore and learn. We have a lot of people who will, they like hiking, or they want to go to the library, or to the movies, or bowling, or skiing in the winter. We help support them in that, and then in the unstructured hours of the day, in the evenings and weekends, leisure time is also very important.
Yes.
And so we work with people to get them out in the community to go to concerts, or go to the pancake breakfasts, or to church, or to other events that might be happening around them. We try to give back. We try to foster that idea of, we're not just receiving these services, we also give back to the community. So we often will be seen in volunteer mode at some of the races or some of the other events in
And
town.
the sense of importance. I think traditionally people with these type of disabilities are very isolated. And this program sounds like you're breaking that stigma for them, getting them out, getting them connected with all sorts of different peoples, and the volunteering opportunities is amazing.
Right. We try to foster that reciprocity, that it's not, like I said, it's not a one-sided thing where you get everything. You also have a responsibility to your community to give back, like we all do. And, in the early 80s, there was a big deinstitutionalization movement where where states were funding community-based programs to bring people out of the regional centers and help them live a more typical life in their communities. And so that's kind of where we started our adult services, was during that time in the early 80s.
So needed. You also have employment and vocational support.
We're so proud of this program. We have so many people who have jobs in the community doing things typical of any other person who has to work in the community. So we have people who work with the municipalities. We have people who work at tire stations, or at a liquor store, or at fast food, at the schools, at various stores, grocery stores, hardware stores. It's really impressive. And what we do is we, again, meet with people who have the interest in working in the community, and we start talking with them about, what do you like to do? What do you want to learn? What kind of hours do you want to work? And then we work with them to develop resumes and interview skills. And we have job coaches who will go with them, and they will help them arrange the interview and help them through an interview and support them in any level or degree that they need to be successful. And then if the person does receive a job in the community, that job coach will be with them as much as needed to help them learn the job and the duties and the tasks to do them at the level that the supervisor expects them to be done. And so that might mean just a check-in every couple days, or it might mean that we have a job coach with someone every hour that the person is working, to help keep them focused, to help keep them on track, and to help them deliver a good product to their employee.
Wow, that must be so great for their self-esteem, their sense of independence, to be able to earn a paycheck.
Absolutely.
Do you have certain employers that are really open to this, that are kind of our go-tos for you?
Sure. So City Market has always been a big supporter of individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Tractor Supply Company, the City of Glenwood Springs. Let me see. I don't want to intentionally leave anyone out. Arby's has been a very good supporter of ours too. Wendy's.
That's great.
Yeah,
You have a huge staff, all these job coaches, and
we do.
it's amazing.
We have about 140 employees or contractors. So we do have quite a few people
You
that we keep track of.
do. You have a greenhouse? Is this new?
So our greenhouse has been around since the mid
Okay,
80s.
it's been a long time.
Yeah, and initially that was a very innovative way to include people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in work environments. And so we actually had a very robust greenhouse employment location that we started in the early 80s with a donated greenhouse that we used a lot of community volunteers to go get and then to build. And we had been at that time one of the few greenhouses in the area who were actually producing plants and vegetables for community consumption. And we had a lot of employees who were also receiving our services and thereby receiving job coaching out in the greenhouse. And currently it's kind of ebbed and flowed through the years, but currently we have a smaller staff of people who work out there to meet some of the regulations that the state of Colorado sets on us about expectations for community employment. And so we do continue to grow all of our plants from seed. And the individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities are the ones who are planting them and fostering them and watering them and pruning them and replanting them and then selling them. So we do a lot of bedding plants in the spring, and we move over to vegetables in the summer and the fall. In the winter, we grow poinsettias.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of research about how therapeutic it is to garden and grow and nurture plants. So
Absolutely.
I can't imagine what it does for your clientele.
Absolutely, and to see the product grow from a seed
Right.
until they're watching the product walk off with someone who just purchased them. It's very empowering.
That's wonderful to know. Poinsettias, how do we buy those?
Call us anytime. Call us starting in December.
Okay, good to know. I want one. And I'd like to conclude with talking about the Valley Weavers Gallery and the
Sure.
weaving. I know we've brought some products today, so
Absolutely. So we have Mountain Valley Weavers. That's at 209 8th Street in downtown Glenwood Springs. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. We started that after receiving an endowment from an Aspen family, along with 3 looms. Thank you. And we started that to help people learn a skill. And that just blossomed and bloomed, and we started selling them to the communities in the malls and at fairs. And then our inventory grew so much that we had enough to open a store. So we purchased a building. It's quite dilapidated, and demolished it and built it from the bottom up. And it's still there today. It's gone through a few different iterations of just being a weaving store to being a consignment textile and art store, to now where we've shrunk it a little bit just based on the interest and the abilities of the weavers there, to where we are renting out the bottom of the gallery to a boutique, and then we still have our weavers upstairs in the loft area who are selling and making their product. And we've taken great strides this last year to really hone in on enabling the weavers who are currently working to help them learn how to set up a loom. So go from idea to preparation to creation of the product to selling the product. So they're really a lot more involved from the very beginning than they have been in the past.
right. And these are your clientele that are the weavers.
Correct. They are.
Have artistic expression. And you brought a couple items to share
I
with us
did.
today.
I did. So this is a little purse. This was created by an individual who is working at our gallery, and these are for sale. They're lovely, and they're kind of the right size for glasses and for
It's
a
crossbody
wallet.
purse.
Yes,
Perfect.
and for a phone. So we have this available in a lot of different colors and patterns. And then, what did we decide this was? This was a table runner.
Table runner, but the pattern is just
It's just beautiful.
spectacular.
And this is a pretty complex pattern that one of the individuals who is a weaver at the store learned how to set the loom itself. So this is a very complex,
Very intricate.
labor-dependent item. We also have a purse here, And of course, we create the fabric, or we create the loom and the design, and then it gets finished into a purse.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
I would encourage anybody, please go down and look at the store. The products are wonderful. The skill is amazing.
Yes, and it's just provides such a great opportunity for people to express their creativity, like you had said,
Right.
but also to have some pride in what they're creating.
Right. It's wonderful. Well, Sarah, thank you for joining
Thank
me
you.
today. Anything, last words about Valley Developmental?
Please come and see us. If you want to come and tour what we have going on, I'm happy to take you there. We can look at some of our homes. We can look at our greenhouse. We can go to Mountain Valley Weavers. We have a website called www.mtnvalley.org. Please join us there as well. It's under construction, so
Have patience.
have patience. But please, just if you're interested in seeing or learning more about us, don't hesitate to give us a call.
Well, thank you so much for your time
Thank you.
today. And thank you for joining us today on Connecting with Kathleen. And I'd like to close with wishing you health, healing, and happiness.